The flight is late. You've been standing at arrivals for 40 minutes with a phone at 11% and nothing worth looking at. Then the doors opened. A woman comes through, pulling a suitcase with a bad wheel. Somewhere behind you, someone shouts a name. She turns. A man is already moving. And then the two of them are holding each other in the middle of the walkway. While everyone else steps around them, you don't know these people. You will never know them. And your throat closes. Nothing has gone wrong. Nobody is hurt. This is, by any reasonable measure, the best thing that has happened in this building all day. And your body has responded with the exact physical signal it reserves for loss. We have a phrase for this, happy tears. It sounds like a charming little exception, a glitch we've agreed not to look at too closely. Something that happens at weddings and finish lines and airport gates. And then we wipe our face and say, sorry, I don't know why I'm doing this. But it's worth asking why the apology comes so automatically. Why crying in a moment of joy feels like a small malfunction that needs explaining. Start with something simpler, what actually triggers a tear. Most of us carry an assumption we've never examined, that crying is the output of sadness. Sad and tears out. Under that model, happy tears are a wiring error, a crossed cable. The trouble is that the model doesn't survive contact with your own life. People cry at graduations, at national anthems, at the end of a piece of music they've heard 400 times. Soldiers cry coming home and cry leaving. There is a version of you that has cried while laughing so hard you couldn't breathe. What those moments share isn't sadness, it's sighs. Researchers who study this have a term for the odd category. It belongs to dimorphous expressions, cases where the outward expression runs opposite to what the person reports feeling. Crying at good news sits in that category. So does the strange urge people describe when they see something unbearably cute. The impulse to squeeze it, to say, I could just eat you, aggressive language attached to tenderness. Under laboratory conditions, both patterns show up reliably enough to study. One interpretation is that these opposite expressions do something useful. That when a feeling gets too large, producing the shape of its opposite may help pull a person back toward the middle. There is some support for this. It is not a closed question, and anyone who tells you the matter is settled is telling you more than the evidence allows. Still, notice what even the cautious version implies. If it's true, then the crying isn't a response to joy. It's a response to intensity, to the sheer amount of feeling arriving at once. And joy simply happens to be one of the things that can arrive in that quantity, which raises a harder question about what the tears are for in the first place. Human emotional tears are, as far as anyone has been able to establish, unusual. Other animals produce tears to protect the eye. The ones that come from feeling appear to be ours. And the most consistent finding about them has almost nothing to do with the person crying. It has to do with everyone. Watching a face with tears on it is read differently. It draws people in. It shifts how others judge the person, what they assume about them, how likely they are to move closer instead of away. Tears function, at least in part, as a signal aimed outward, something visible on the outside of the body that says, the inside is no longer managing on its own. So hold those two things next to each other, a signal of I cannot handle this alone, firing at the happiest moment of a person's life. That's the part that should feel strange, Not that we cry when we're sad, that we deploy the surrender signal at the altar, in the delivery room at the gate where the person we missed finally walks through the door. There is an answer that's tempting here, and it's the wrong one. It would be easy to say the system is simply crude, that it can't tell up from down, that it fires at anything intense, and the direction is irrelevant. But watch what you actually cry at. You don't cry at a very good meal. You don't cry when your team wins usually, unless the win carries something else inside it. Intensity alone doesn't do it. Plenty of moments are enormous and leave your face completely dry. The moments that get you are narrower than that. They tend to involve people. They tend to involve time, something finally arriving after a long wait, or something ending that will not come again. They tend to be moments where you have no control over what happens next, and where the thing in front of you is something you could not comfortably lose, which suggests the tears aren't tracking happiness. They're tracking exposure. There is a specific kind of discomfort in this. Most of us go through an ordinary week with a low-level agreement in place that we're fine, that we don't need very much, that the people around us are simply there, the way furniture is there. The agreement holds because nothing tests it. Then a stranger's daughter dances with her father at a reception you didn't want to attend, and something in your chest gives out, and you're sitting there with a napkin against your eye, quietly furious at yourself. The tears didn't create that feeling. They revealed a bill that had been accruing. This is the part that's uncomfortable to sit with. You can perform happiness. You can perform grief. Almost no one can perform this. Happy tears arrive before consent, which means they end up being one of the more honest things your body does. An involuntary disclosure of what you'd been quietly refusing to admit mattered to you. A man who has spent 11 years describing his relationship with his father as complicated finds out what he actually thinks about it during a toast in front of 90 people with no warning. We build entire structures around this. Weddings, funerals, graduations, homecomings. Every culture stages moments where a person is required to stand still while everyone looks at them, and something is publicly acknowledged. We treat these as celebrations or as formalities to get through. They might be doing something else. They might be scheduled permission, a designated hour when a group of people agree to stop pretending they aren't attached to each other, which makes what we do now a little peculiar. You've probably watched a reunion video. Someone in uniform surprising a kid at school, a dog recognizing an owner after 8 months, a proposal filmed from 3 angles. Millions of us watch these on purpose from bed at 11 at night and then feel slightly embarrassed and keep scrolling. It's easy to be cynical about that, but something more interesting is going on. The mechanism doesn't seem to check whose life it is. Given a threshold moment, arrival, return, the end of a long wait, it responds. Even when the people are strangers and the footage is compressed and the sound is bad and you are alone in a dark room. Maybe it can't tell the difference. Or maybe watching a stranger's reunion is the safest available way to touch something you've been avoiding in your own life. Both are possible, neither is proven, but the fact that we keep going back to those videos suggests we're getting something out of them that we're not getting elsewhere. And there is one more thing hiding in all of this. If your body responds to arrival with the same equipment it uses for loss, then perhaps those two experiences are not as separate as our language pretends. To fully register what something is worth, you may have to briefly register that it could be otherwise. The wedding contains the possibility that it doesn't last. The homecoming contains all the months of absence. The first steps contain the fact that they will never happen again, not as a sad thought, as part of the arithmetic of noticing anything at all. So the next time your eyes go hot for no defensible reason at a song, at a video, at something small your kid does on a Tuesday, the useful question probably isn't, why am I sad? Because you aren't. It's not, why am I so emotional either. That question is mostly just an apology. The question is, what did I just admit? Because something got through, something you'd filed under fine, under normal, under I don't really think about it briefly, stood up and showed you its actual size. The doors at arrivals open again. Another flight, more people with bad suitcase wheels. Most of them met by nobody, walking straight out to the taxi rank. You watch anyway. And somewhere under the boredom and the dead phone battery, a part of you is standing at that gate, waiting for someone specific, someone who isn't on this flight, or any flight, or hasn't been asked yet. That's what got you. Not their reunion, the one you didn't know, you were still hoping for.